everyone, so like the majority of people, I have now seen The Rise of Skywalker, and this is going to be my quick review rant of The Rise of Skywalker. This is going to contain spoilers, so just a heads up, if you haven't seen the movie yet, do not watch. But let me just start off by saying, what the fuck was this? So it is the clunkiest fucking story in this whole trilogy, and the other two were already fucking shit. Like, what is going on? This movie has horrible pacing. It goes from 1 minute, there's a massive chase, explosion, so much action, to like boring, slow-ass dialogue, to go back and back and back. The pacing is horrible. The story is just clunky, nostalgic, just best mess. Try saying that 10 times quick. And it's just, it's a wreck. Like, clearly what they planned for The Force Awakens got thrown in the garbage. What they planned for The Last Jedi got thrown in the garbage. None of these films really connect, and they made some really stupid fucking decisions where it was concerned. First off, they killed Han Solo in The Force Awakens. I didn't like that. I was really upset that Han Solo died. But I can understand why they did it. They wanted the emotional gut punch, and also Harrison Ford didn't really want to come back. He wanted to die. So, fair enough. But why kill Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi if you're going to bring him back for this, and he's going to be so vital for the story in this one? Why survive Princess Leia just to kill her in this one? Now, these three might have been suddenly changed due to real-life tragedy of Carrie FIsher. And fair enough. I can understand that. But that still just doesn't really make much sense to me. Because if Han Solo is going to be so vital to Ben being redeemed, why kill him, not mention him in The Last Jedi, just to bring him back in this one? Why kill Luke Skywalker, have him be such an arrogant dickweed in The Last Jedi, to bring him back and be a mentor to be the saving grace and the confidence built that Rey needs for her to go and do what she needs to do? Why couldn't he do that in The Last Jedi? Why was he so fucking useless in The Last Jedi just to die? And then Princess Leia. I know they couldn't really do much because of the passing, but I feel like there is more they could have done rather than her give a few cuddles at the start and then just to die. So, clearly they didn't really plan much for Han, Luke, Leia when they originally planned this trilogy. A lot of the times they showed up, it was for nostalgia purposes. It was to push the new characters along. And then they didn't really utilize it. Rey got very, very little development when you actually compare the movies. In the first movie, they're like, oh, she's really powerful. Who is her family? They're investigating that. The Last Jedi, she's a nobody. That is their excuse. The third film, we obviously finally find out who is. And that's what they went with. Like most people, including myself, I saw that coming from a mile away. She is way too powerful to be a nobody. Of course she is related to this family. That is not a fucking surprise. This was like the most obvious decision they could have made, especially when they were revealing he was alive. Like, of course. But again, how the fuck is he alive? And they didn't bother talking about that at all. And that bothers me. This movie already goes for 2 hours and 20 minutes. You've already got a whole lot of clunky bullshit storyline in it, and you can't answer that one fucking question? Okay. So, of course, she was going to be from this powerful family. It's not that much of a surprise. But when that is finally revealed, she still doesn't do much with that information. And we could have had this information beforehand. Because apparently Princess Leia knew the whole time. Like, why would she not tell her? Clearly she knows what it's like to be lied to about your family and to be suddenly shocked and surprised by it. So that was frustrating because by all accounts, it just doesn't make sense. The next part of it is Finn. So he gets very, very little character development over 3 movies. Basically, all he gets is constant romantic relationships. He just constantly flirts with every single woman. And of course, in The Last Jedi, he has this relationship with Rose, which, like most people, I didn't like Rose as a character. I didn't really care for her. In this film, it's clear that no one cared for her because she's basically just not even a secondary character. She's like far in the back. They barely realized like how vital she was to The Last Jedi. And they just constantly have this awkward interactions. And it's just like, why have her so important when she's basically a nobody in this film? He introduces a new character that he basically has a romantic interest with. He wants to confess something to Rey, which we never actually hear, but I'm pretty sure it was I love you or some bullshit like that. Like, really? And then as much as I love Oscar Isaac, he gets very little development. He's still basically the same that he was in The Force Awakens. They add a new character where he could have a romantic interest, and it sounds like they have a really, really interesting background. But because episode 10, 11, 12 has been cancelled, and I don't believe there's a prequel that involves that, or like a spin-off that involves them coming. So like, what was the point in introducing this interesting character, introducing such a interesting interaction they have if nothing is going to come from it? I feel like it was such a waste of time to add this when it's just not going to happen. There is nostalgia basically through, oh my god, is Chewbacca dead? Which clearly that was never going to happen. Chewbacca is one of their biggest merchandise sellers. They would never do such a stupid thing like that by killing him. And also, if they were going to kill him, they would show it more because they want that emotional punch. And no one reacted when it happened. Like at the cinema, everyone was dead quiet. So clearly no one believed it happened for a second. And obviously they were right. R2-D2 plays very little part in this. BB-8, even, he doesn't really do much. C-3PO, he probably gets the most. But they do this whole, we must erase your memory for you to translate this thing. And then he basically gets his memory back straight away. The only thing that it really did was have this annoying, oh, hi, nice to meet you, nice to meet you. Like, we already got that from the original Star Wars films. Like, we didn't need that again. It's just more nostalgia. It's more, oh, let's try and be funny. And I just feel like if you want us to be worried he's going to lose his memory, lose who he is, like, don't suddenly give him his memory back, not even 20 minutes later. So I just feel like they try to give a lot of emotion from you, but it's just, it doesn't work out because they don't actually let you do that emotion long enough. They don't let you second guess what they are doing. With Disney, with Star Wars, everything is relatively safe because even when a character dies, you know you're eventually going to see them again. Like Han Solo died, saw him again. Luke Skywalker died, saw him again. There's not often that a character will die that you won't see again. And this brings me on to my another point of characters who are dead. Ben Solo. So, I really like the fact that they did redeem him, but I feel like it was just too late. I wish they would have redeemed him at the end of The Last Jedi, and this film would have had them working together, rather than still doing that back and forth to redeem him at the end. I'm glad they redeemed Ben Solo. I'm glad he decided to go onto the good side rather than the dark side. I'm glad he decided to sacrifice himself for Rey. But I feel like this should have been working up to it, not a sudden thing. Because they were still fighting insane amounts in this movie towards each other, threatening each other. But every time, like, they were clearly pulling their punches, and then the time they did get hurt, they, like, stopped or saved each other. And it's just like, what is the point in having them fight non-stop when it's obvious that neither of them want to do that? And we see Ben Solo die. And this is really bothering me because they basically kill Rey. He revives her. They kiss. He dies. And it's just like, what? Like, it's so cheap. There are so many people that were shipping for these people. I didn't really get into shipping between them because I'm like, a lot of people are thinking they were related. I'm like, well, that's gross. Like, why would you think they're related and then want them to kiss? So I didn't get involved with whether Ben and Rey should be a relationship or not. But for those that wanted them, clearly the kiss was to make them happy. But then to kill him was to make the other people happy that didn't ship them together. And it's just like, you can't please everyone. You need to pick something. Because this has just pissed off everyone. You cannot have them almost killing each other through 3 films and then have them kiss. Because that just comes off as an insane domestic relationship. Like, you are teaching young, impressionable kids that when you bash someone, it's okay if you, like, you know, something nice to them at the end and sacrifice. And it's just, like, maybe people are reading into it, but it's just a really weird message to come from Disney, to come from Star Wars. And I didn't like the message that they picked. I definitely didn't like that after finally redeeming him, they just kill him. And now all the Skywalkers is dead. Like, to me, Star Wars is Skywalker. And they're all gone. And I know at the end, Rey's like, I'm a Skywalker. But she's not. She has never been and never will be a Skywalker. Skywalker is not like a feeling. Like, she has a last name. And I know she probably doesn't want to be associated with them. But you also have to remember, Anakin Skywalker was a bad person. But Luke Skywalker took that name, redeemed that name, and made it become something. Princess Leia never actually had the last name Skywalker. And then obviously Ben is not a Skywalker. So you can't say, oh, like she picked Skywalker because it's her soulmate. He was a Solo. So she could be Rey Solo. But she's not a Skywalker. She's not a Solo. And it just really annoyed me at the end where she's like, oh, I'm Rey Skywalker. Like, no. No, you are not. And it just really bothers me that at the end they managed to show, like, Luke and Leia, like, them materialize. But why not show everyone that has passed and really punch that nostalgia into us? Because obviously that's what they were doing most of this time. They just wanted the nostalgia. Like, bring back the ghosts of Luke, Leia, Han, Anakin. Like, where was Anakin? I really wanted to see him in this film. I loved Hayden Christensen as Anakin. And it would have been great to see a cameo because obviously they shoved everything else down our throats. So why not just one thing? I guess there's no pleasing me with this film. I hated it, but there was other things that I wanted and it just made me hate it more because they didn't give it to me. So basically what I'm saying, I was never going to be happy with this film. No matter how much I tried. The Force Awakens was disappointing. The Last Jedi was disappointing. And then this was just even more disappointing to me. Just because the story was so clunky. It was just long. It was boring. There were so many scenes that were unnecessary. And then there was just a lot of, hey, this character's dead, but it doesn't matter because we're going to bring him back and he's going to basically push the storyline along. We're going to ignore all these other characters. We're going to give you a whole bunch of new characters that you've never met before, but you should suddenly care about. The Last Jedi, no one showed up to help us with this battle, but we're going to get like a shit ton to show up now and help us with this battle. There's just so many plot holes. There's just so many clunky, weird decisions they made. And while it is beautifully done with cinematography and the performances were fantastic and the special effects were fantastic, it's just, at the end of the day, it's a bad film because the storyline isn't there. The emotion isn't there. What I feel when I go to the cinema, I just left deflated. I was bored through it. Honestly, if this was any other film, if I didn't pay $20 for a ticket, if I didn't go to the movies weekly anyway to see everything, I would have walked out this film. I was deeply bored and I just knew whatever they decide to do was just not going to be worth the payoff that I was desperately waiting for. So clearly I am not much of a fan of the film. As much as I wanted to be, to give it a second chance, I'm just going to stick with episode 1 to 6. I'm happy never to really watch episode 7, 8, and 9 again. I'm desperately hoping that they don't decide to make episode 10, 11, and 12, because I just don't feel like I could sit through 3 other disappointing, nostalgic fest movies. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Like, if you liked it, I'm really happy for you. I just feel like they could have done a lot better, especially acknowledging what came before it. Because if you're ignoring The Last Jedi to make this film, it's just really annoying for someone that has watched all of them. So yeah, also, because the year's coming to an end, let me know your #1 favorite movie of the year and your least favorite movie of the year. Alright, bye!